All right. We're here. Hey, listen up, guys. Here's the thing. On tonight's show, I may have found literally the only person in the entire world who actually believes that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. I'm going to convince him that he's wrong. He's fucking wrong.
You're listening to the Unframe of Mind Show, the place to have the most mind-stretching, unprotected, intellectual intercourse of your life. Your hosts battle the forces of evil by lobbing fiery balls of truth, reason, and evidence over safe room walls.
All right, and welcome back to
What's up, homie?
Episode of the Unframe of Mind Show, where we're having uncomfortable conversations without a condom, and we're throwing red pills out like Skittles. I'm your host, Daniel Wagner.
Hey, Anthony Treyway.
Hey, and we're back yet again for yet another one of these awesome, amazing conversations. So here's the deal. Anthony and I got to talking before the show, and as it turns out, he actually believes that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, that he committed suicide, and it blows my mind. So I'm gonna try, hopefully with the help of our Unframed Minds Facebook group, to convince him otherwise. You're not buying it, are you? You think you believe the narrative, right?
Yeah. That's what I've been told by the mainstream media.
Yeah, so the mainstream media...
You have to believe the mainstream media. You have to, because they are always right. They never do wrong.
I know this, but I'm just hoping...
Regardless of what Project Veritas has told us, it's, you got to believe the media.
All right, so we'll get to that right after the Phobismist.
Is that weird that I say it at the same time?
Yeah, no, actually, It sounds kind of cool. It gives it, it's like already an echo, and it gives it even more of an echo. So on tonight's episode of the Phobismist, we're going to explain to you why you should be offended by Cinderella. No, not the ozone layer destroying hairband from the 80s, but Cinderella the fairy tale. That Cinderella, she is offensive. And as it turns out, very, very offensive in many, many different ways. Care to take it?
She's white. Good night, folks.
Well, I guess that's all you need to know. She's white, therefore offensive.
So
now,
is she a blonde or is she a ginger? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't see any freckles, so it's a little offensive that they wouldn't make her a ginger, I know it's got to piss you off.
So check this out. This is the first thing I was thinking, was that Cinderella gives kids these new age Generation Z, millennials, all that crap. That gives them these unrealistic expectations. It kind of portrays this rag to riches story, which is completely unobtainable. And it makes people think, hey, kids, why don't you go play the lottery because you might actually win. It's that kind of thing. That you're going to be struggling, scrubbing floors for your evil stepmother and their stuck-up stepsisters, and one day you're just going to win the fucking lottery.
Well, we already know what happens if I won the lottery. So
yeah, we did have yes, we figured this out. So it's probably a good thing you didn't.
Yeah, I know. Although it would make an interesting conversation piece if I did.
Here's another thing that really, really pissed me off about this and why y'all should be offended by Cinderella. Here's the problem. The main problem is that the story had to have been written by men. It had to have been.
Why is that?
Because there's no such thing as bad women or evil. It's only evil men. This story goes to great lengths to make women look terrible. Not Cinderella necessarily, even though she's kind of a freeloading, millennial. But the evil stepmother, the mean old stepsisters, in reality, if this was a real life story, these would be brave single moms struggling to make ends meet. They're probably on welfare. And Cinderella was the foster child they took in to get the free government paycheck so they could make, so they could pay their bills. This is supposed to be a story of struggle for everyone, not just Cinderella. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it makes since it was written by men, it makes these women look terrible. And that's just not true. Just as much as you believe the mainstream media about Jeffrey Epstein, there's no such thing as bad women. They're just not. So I apologize if anybody is commenting, because for some reason I'm not seeing any of your comments. So we'll bring this up over here and make sure. At any rate. Oh, there it was again. That at any rate bullshit that I like to throw up.
All the time, man.
I know it.
It never gets old.
If y'all are hugely offended by this chick right here, Cinderella, please let me know. There's a couple other ones I'd like to touch on too. In a perfect world, that slipper would have been a one-size-fits-all slipper because, we have to go for perfect equality. Everybody's the same. So to try to make it out like Cinderella is an individual is just such a slap in the face to the collectivist ideology.
I don't care.
You're supposed to act offended.
I am offended. I'm offended at the fact that we're even discussing Cinderella, not the rock band.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess we could just... so here's another thing.
I could find more offensive things about the group, the band, than I could about this
all
little
right,
bitch.
Then we'll do that too. We'll go ahead and cover 2. Okay, I do see comments now. Cool. It just wasn't.
Right.
Oh, it wasn't working. All right, we're back. Somebody says poop from the comments. Hey, Jeremy.
There's so much shit going on, like talking.
I know.
Just keep it in tonight.
I'm sorry.
Please.
Huh?
Just don't shit on yourself.
Oh.
I've had enough of that. That's we
Understood.
don't need to do 3 weeks running. This is getting to be a little
understand.
ridiculous.
So here's the biggest reason. No, it's not the biggest reason. It's just yet another reason why Cinderella is super offensive. It's the fact that the glass slipper is actually a dog whistle for the glass ceiling that women are faced against every day in the workforce in the gender wage gap.
Hand me that. Hand me that.
What?
That right there.
This?
Yeah. So when I'm looking at Cinderella, here, make that screen big.
Oh, there we go.
So when I look at Cinderella, you got to say that real fast. Real fast.
My Dixie wrecked.
Say it again. Faster.
My Dixie wrecked.
Faster.
My Dixie wrecked. My de Rixie wrecked. My Dixie wrecked.
My Dixie wrecked when
My Dixie wrecked when I look at Cinderella too.
Yeah. Snow White, just to be honest
so
with
stupid.
you.
So stupid. But yeah, those glass slippers are a dog whistle for the glass ceiling. They're more like a glass floor, which means that women are even below. They're the dirt beneath the feet of this young lady.
But if you I'm a little offended that they didn't show Cinderella making sandwiches.
See, you would think, but we're not. We're in left brain mode.
You would think. Well,
we're in left brain mode right now.
It's hard to. It's hard, man. I'll be honest with you.
Remember, as phobismists, we're supposed to be offended about everything from a very liberal, progressive standpoint. So Tim Lewis says, I'm offended that the mice couldn't pull that carriage as themselves, probably because they were brown. They had to be turned into the horses like they weren't good enough to do it all on their own. And the horses were white, by the way.
Awesome, Tim. He's got it.
Yeah, see we got a professional phobismist in our ranks here. Thank you. That was a particular angle I hadn't considered, so I really appreciate that. So if you guys know of any other reasons why evil Cinderella might actually be offensive, please let us know in the comments section, and we'll read them on the air. Here we go. So okay, I really need to get you on board with this.
Okay,
because I'm telling you, Epstein did not kill himself.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
CNN told me otherwise. CNN told me that Epstein killed himself.
Okay, so here, check this out.
Yeah.
In the group, I asked everybody to prove to you that Epstein, in fact, did not kill himself. So Dan says, here we go. Dan says, with a tub of butter, and I'm going to try. If it sounds funny, if I'm reading these, it's because I'm trying to keep in mind my podcast listening audience as well. So bear with me on that. Dan has a tub of I can't believe Epstein killed himself butter.
The original.
So that right there should be enough to prove to you. No,
it's a tub of butter. That doesn't indicate anything.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to some of the better ones here. All right, I've got this one. This image here is Hillary Clinton sitting in front of a sign that says Epstein committed suicide. Change my mind. That's got to be enough to convince you. This was submitted by Chris.
It doesn't have anything to do with Hillary. Hillary wasn't there.
But she's right. Okay, but she's right there saying that Epstein committed suicide. She's saying it. Oh, no. and you believe that, but you believe her.
Yeah, I mean, I believe her.
So you would not be interested in changing her mind because you already agree.
Right.
Okay, sorry, Chris Turner. Your meme was not enough
You're out.
to change his mind. All right, so I'm looking for anything that's got. Okay, so here, this one. This is the movie cover of Weekend at Bernie's, but instead of Bernie, it's Jeffrey, and instead of the other two dudes holding up Bernie, it's actually Bill and Hillary Clinton.
But what do they have to do with it?
Well, it's what happened during a weekend at Jeffrey's. They're holding up his dead body.
But he was in jail.
That's true. So you're not.
So
it's not enough. It's not enough. Man, you are a tough nut to crack, dude. You're a tough nut to crack.
I'm just in a situation where I just believe the media. I believe CNN. I believe everybody that has said that he actually did commit suicide. I mean,
all right. You're making my head hurt. But maybe this.
I can't focus.
Maybe this will convince you otherwise.
He did.
There's a picture of a fine-looking young lady with a very low-cut top, a dangerously low-cut top. And on her chest, it says, Epstein did not kill himself. Is that enough to convince you?
Man, I'm just kind of mesmerized by those eyes.
So now you not only are convinced of what CNN has told you, but you're also sitting here with a half fatty as well.
Yes, that's why I read that little message over there.
That didn't help either. Okay, guys, you guys are going to have to, okay. This one here's got to do it. This is what did it for me.
Okay.
It's a picture of Pinocchio staring into...
How is our group page not bad yet? I just want to know.
There's a fine-looking black lady bent down on her hands and knees, an animated picture. She's got her butt in the air with Pinocchio staring down into the abyss, so to speak. And she's saying, tell me that Epstein killed himself. Meaning that if Pinocchio says that Epstein killed himself, he would be lying, and she would get what she's looking for, allegedly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, because that nose would grow, and if it did, it'd go right into her.
So
right into
if
her pussy,
this was to actually play out, and you saw his nose grow, would you then believe it? Or you still not?
No, it's a cartoon character. It's not real. It's fantasy.
All right, still not buying it. Still not buying it. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get through to you. Okay, Homer Simpson finally discovering his middle. Homer J. Simpson.
Dude, it's still cartoons. It's not believable. It's fictional.
But his middle name is Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. It says it right? Oh, it's a cartoon. Okay.
Yeah, you can't believe cartoons, man.
All right. We're going to try this one. By Arden Parker. Sorry, I've not been reading your names. I apologize, guys. It's a picture of Joe Rogan wearing a T-shirt with a eggplant emoji on it saying, hung like Epstein.
Maybe he's got a fatty. I don't know.
It's not a oh, you're saying Epstein probably had a big dick and he committed suicide.
No, just that he had a big dick.
Okay, but you still think he committed suicide. No. All right, sorry, Arden Parker. That was not enough to convince. Okay, these are all great. You guys were amazing at submitting these. Okay, this one here had me rolling because so they're sitting here at the table. They're playing the old children's game Guess Who.
Yeah. I miss that game.
One guy across the table says, did he kill himself? She says no, and he puts down Epstein's picture. That should be the smoking gun evidence that you're looking for to convince you that CNN is lying.
No, because it's a game. I mean, you're going to believe what you want.
God
you know
dang
what I'm
it.
saying?
You're starting to piss me off. Okay, y'all need to stop chatting. I don't know how to mute my chats while I'm on here. All right. Oh, I got it right here. Here it is.
Okay.
Here it is.
Right.
Matt Gray submits, I asked Siri who killed Jeff Epstein. Siri replied, the Clint. Now my Siri doesn't work anymore.
I guess I need to go get a new one. I had to get my money back if it's not working right.
Yeah, that's true. You actually
because if it was believed, then it would finish the sentence.
You actually do make a really good point there. So that's not going to work. Okay, we're going to mute that because they're chatting a lot. Mute it. Okay. Get it together, people. All right, let's continue.
So we're not going to go through all these.
No, we're not going through. I'm just trying to pick out the best ones, the ones that really were. Okay, so a meme of Hillary Clinton saying, this is submitted by Chris Turner as well, says, back off or I'll kill yourself. That doesn't have anything to do with Epstein. No. I'm sorry, that could be anybody. All right, this is getting old, man. These are great, by the way. These are so great. Okay, this one's submitted by Molly Stokes Platts. It's a chick looking at a pregnancy test, and when it zooms in on the pregnancy test, it says Epstein didn't kill himself. Even the pregnancy test knows.
That's a defective pregnancy test. She needs to go back to the store and get her money back. I mean,
That seems like a really coincidental defect, dude. You're still not buying this. Man, CNN has got you. Okay, Molly Stokes-Platt also submitted this one here. It's the underneath side of a In-N-Out Burger cup, meaning they had to print in these way in advance. And in the bottom, printed in red lettering, it says Epstein did not kill himself. Son of a bitch.
What does that have to do with a drink?
I don't know.
Okay, so moving on. Yeah, there were some pretty good ones.
Well, let me see. Let me just get one more. Maybe one more will be the tipping point for you. Let's see. I know I've seen one. Geez, there's more in here than I had seen when I did it earlier. Holy crap. There's a bunch of them that I hadn't read. Tease for every mood. No, that's not it. There's a bunch of repeats. Y'all got to get it together with the repeats. Okay, so we've got, let's go with, where'd it go? Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. For sure, Wheel of Fortune. It says Jeffrey, I read it as Jeffrey Epstein killed himself on Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune never puts anything up there that's false.
Vanna White didn't turn the other letter, so it could have been anything else.
Now, this is the final one here. This has got to be the one to convince you.
No.
What do we do then? Because
let's take a deeper look into this.
When I talked about the bit earlier, are we still going? You were supposed to. Never mind. Fuck it. All right. Anyway, so in all seriousness, this is something that's been in the news. If you've not heard any of this, this is For
anybody that actually believes that I believe this shit from other news sources, you don't know me that well, and that's fine. It's
now, if you have not heard about any of this, you're doing a fantastic job of avoiding any news whatsoever.
You would have to avoid everything from television, radio, to social media, everything, because ever since Project Veritas had released their ABC News, exposed? It's really hit the fan here recently, and it started to open up windows to things that have been talked about 3 years ago, which has been kind of rather interesting.
To kick this off, just for anybody who is still under a rock, and just so we can keep some kind of semblance of organization here in terms of our notes and our general storyline that's going to flow through this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys are just going to have to bear with us here because we're going to start putting pieces of the puzzle together. This isn't to suggest that we're putting on our tinfoil hats. Now, with that being said, Alex Jones, crazy as this motherfucker is.
All right, so you're going to make me play that video instead.
No. I'm just going to say, crazy as he is, he was talking about this years ago. Mm-hmm. Everybody wrote him off. Everybody just said he was crazy. He was just a fucking nutcase. But then all of a sudden, 3 years later, everybody's just kind of like, he might have been onto something. He might have been right. Now,
look, he was right about all this Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah. Hold up.
Shit. That is a fucking fact. Alex Jones called this years ago. Years ago. Take a lot of famous people to this island, and they have all these young girls that this guy hooks them up with. He was talking about this years ago. Now it is mainstream news.
And those human hybrid experiments
going
on.
Yes.
Would sound like a complete joke when he
brought it up, we were like, what? We were like, what? Now it's fucking mainstream news. This is a fact, man. Like, people want to write that guy off because he'll tell you he's crazy. He'll let you know he's crazy. I mean, on my show, there was one of the funniest things he ever said. He's like, look, I want to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded. And I fell to the ground laughing. But that's who he really is, man. People just have him lumped in, It's like some people, they don't represent the best aspects of themselves right to people. And then other people try to define them. Like, people try to define you. It's really one of the things that is really kind of weird about the more famous you get, the more people try to define you in a way that's detrimental or a way that's dismissive and a lot of famous people to this island. And
pausing that. Yeah, I remember that episode when he said, I'm kind of retarded. That shit was hilarious.
But, okay, so Joe Rogan is even on board with this. And he's even said that now this has become mainstream media. Mm-hmm. So my question is why is a guy, even though at times he is a little crazy, he's been deplatformed.
Oh yeah.
Now we're starting to
you
go
don't-
back and realize that, there is some truth behind what Alex Jones has been talking about.
Yeah, here's the problem with Alex Jones is there's so many times that he has turned out to be correct.
Yeah.
It's
As scary as it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times when you hear it and you're like, well, I don't know. But then again, there's, he's got a pretty good batting average for being correct a lot of times for some major conspiracies,
Well, I mean, it's just, we have even talked about this on the show dating about a year back. And we even did a whole show dedicated to WikiLeaks, which then kind of manifested itself into something a lot more than what anybody had even realized. So then I was thinking to myself when Project Veritas had dropped this video, if you want to go ahead and play that.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Just for some background, I'm going to go ahead and play the first minute or so of this video just to show you, if you haven't seen it, what was actually said. The leaked ABC News Insider video here. But yeah, let's try this. Yeah.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince
Allegations about Prince Andrew.
And threatened us in a
now
million
remember
different
this
ways.
part.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything about that before we move on, or just?
Okay, so just this is something you want to keep in mind. When she mentions then the palace found out and
threatened us in a million different ways, she says.
Right. So remember this part, because this is going to be instrumental into what we're fixing to show you and read to you to put the pieces of this puzzle together. Go ahead.
We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story.
Okay, so what she's talking about there is these news media organizations, they make a lot of money off of just clicks and shit that people actually want to see. And Kate Middleton and Will were one of those things that when they posted stories about them, a lot of traffic came to site, which translates to more money. So in the fear of not being able to interview Kate anymore, they would rather still be able to make the money than to expose a serial pedophile.
Right.
Yeah, so let's continue. So we know what their incentives are. It's not news.
And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like,
yeah. Now notice what she's pissed about. She's not pissed off that there's been who knows how many other young girls being becoming victims in this whole network. She's pissed because the story came out, and I already had the story 3 years ago. What the hell? She's pissed because she got scooped, basically.
Well, and rightfully so. But here's I think what a lot of people may not be kind of putting into a factor here is because the story was never ran. It never exposed pedophilia. And with that being said, there is no telling how many young girls that, because the story never ran, could have been saved.
It's a little it's a little irritating that that's not what she's pissed about. Like, here we go.
every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
Yep, there you have it.
The testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you.
That's fun. That's a lot of fun. That was caught on hot mic. She didn't realize she was being recorded, and it was leaked. And now there seems to be a lot of public outcry. That's why all of a sudden you're seeing all these memes. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself everywhere. Like, I've seen so many of them at this point that literally when I see a capital E somewhere, I start reading Epstein didn't kill himself. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so now
we get it.
Yeah, right. So now going from what we just saw, Going back 3 years ago, WikiLeaks had a huge coming out party for the Clinton emails that were dumped. And this was just before the 2016 election. Now, I spent countless hours, days, weeks doing a lot of research through WikiLeaks. With that being said, I never would have thought that I would have to go back 3 years later and have to pull all this stuff back out of, the closet, so to speak, and talk about this. But it's important that we do, because this starts to bring the pieces of the puzzle back together for people that have maybe forgotten what WikiLeaks actually did dump. Now, with that being said, I went back to the transcripts of emails that I still had saved on my phone, believe it or not. It took some time this morning to do it. And this is what I found, and this is what we're fixing to talk about. Now, what you have to understand is we're going to revert back to the Project Veritas, hot mic episode where she talked about specific things, and we're going to fill in those pieces for you.
Yeah, so basically, it show what you've got here. It says flight logs show Bill Clinton flew on sex offender's jet. Published May 13th of 2016. Epstein and Clinton flew together at least 26 times on the disgraced financier's Lolita Express. Former President Bill Clinton was a much more frequent flyer on a registered sex offender's jet than reported, with flight logs showing the former president taking at least 26 trips aboard the 20 Lolita Express, even apparently ditching his Secret Service detail for at least 5 of the flights. Clinton's presence aboard Jeffrey Epstein's Boeing 727 on 11 occasions has been reported, but flight logs show the number is more than double that. The trips between 2001 and 2003 included extended junkets around the world with Epstein and fellow passengers identified on manifest by their initials and first names, including Tatiana. The tricked-out jet earned its Nabokov-inspired nickname because it was reportedly outfitted with a bed where passengers had group sex with young girls. Quote, Bill Clinton, associated with a man like Jeffrey Epstein, who everyone in New York, certainly within his inner circles, knows is a pedophile, said Conchita Sarnoff of the Washington, D.C.-based nonprofit Alliance to Rescue Victims of Trafficking. So this is the part that you had me highlight here, was that Epstein, who counts among his pals royal figures, heads of state, celebrities, and fellow billionaires, spent 13 months in prison and home detention for solicitation and procurement of minors for prostitution.
So the reason why that was highlighted, and I want you to highlight that, is it talks about royal figures.
Yep.
Which, if you go back to the video we just played for you, Amy talked about
about the
royal family.
Right.
So if you put 2 and 2 together, they obviously wanted to squash this story that we're specifically talking about. Because if you think about it, what Amy had 3 years ago, what WikiLeaks had 3 years ago, it's all starting to come together.
Right. Exactly.
And they much rather shelve her story, bury WikiLeaks, and run the story of the royal family, because they want those clicks. You know what I'm saying?
Now here's the thing. Here's why I think that the manner in which Epstein died,
supposedly,
it needed to look like a murder. It needed to look like a murder,
right?
Just for those who might think about coming after those powerful people who had him taken care of. Who in their right mind, what attorney, what prosecutor is going to go after the jail? Who's going to go after anybody involved in this at all? Nobody's going to want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, because they're like, oh, he wasn't even safe in jail, under camera, under guard. Mysteriously 2 cameras went out at the same time. Mm-hmm. Mysteriously, the guards just, happened to fall asleep and weren't anywhere. Like, there's enough circumstantial evidence here that it acts as a deterrent to other people that might consider or want to think about trying to investigate and trying to actually press charges and try to dig. Because once you start digging, we've already seen all this stuff come up in different alternative media sources,
right.
and they keep getting written off as conspiracy theorists. That's all it is, a bunch of conspiracy theorists. And
that's just I think that's just a way to tell people that you're fucking crazy when you start to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because,
basically.
I mean, in a sense, it's like if we go back to Alex Jones and when he talked about it years ago, and then all of a sudden becomes mainstream media. We've been talking about this for literally 3 years now, because we did a whole show dedicated to WikiLeaks, and we discussed this. You guys can go back into the video files on YouTube, and you can go back and actually watch that episode where we discuss WikiLeaks. Right. I just didn't think, as much research as I did 3 years ago, that I would have to pull all this stuff back out and start to go through it again. And if you type in his name in WikiLeaks, it all starts to pop up. So it's like, I don't think anybody's really crazy here anymore for thinking this. And I even told you, I said, well, what if Pizzagate is actually real? And for those of you that aren't familiar with Pizzagate, it was to believe that there was this pedophilial sex trafficking ring that was going on through a pizza joint that was in D.C. and that the Clintons had ties to it and, a bunch of other public figures. But the one thing that I told you was, don't you find it a little coincidental with everything we just talked about? Anthony Weiner also just did prison time for sexting a 17-year-old minor girl. And then you have the Clintons involved with this. And then you have Epstein. And it's like the Lolita Express. And there's flight logs of Clinton actually going there. Yeah. At what point are people actually going to believe this shit? We're not the ones coming at you with this information. This is information that we've been provided with. It's what you choose to do with it to draw your own conclusions. Right. And that's the one thing I keep trying to tell people is like, when you read all of it and you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together like we have, because I don't think anybody's really thought to go back to check WikiLeaks because it's been 3 years.
Oh yeah, no.
And the only reasons why I thought about it,
it's all out there for sure.
Right.
Sure.
Well, it might be out there, but I don't think people are realizing, oh shit, maybe there was something the DNC, dump and
maybe there's something more to it.
There's something more to it. So then you're kind of going back and you're kind of digging and you're just like, holy shit, dude. It's like I'm reopening this can of worms, and the more you dig and the more you read the emails.
This has been a nonstop story in a lot of circles, but the mainstream media doesn't cover it. And that's what makes this whole event it makes it finally change. Something's changed in the whole story, the whole narrative, because the mainstream media has no choice. They're being faced with having to cover it now.
And something else, just kind of, to kind of touch on something a little bit different, not so much about this, but seeing what Project Veritas is doing right now and exposing the media for what they're doing, I'm loving this.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Something tells me.
I get it. Like, there's that's one of the few videos, like, I get excited when that shit comes across my news feed. I'm like, I gotta see this.
Do you have any idea how many networks right now are just sweating because they don't know who's infiltrated their broadcast or their publications? And they're probably paranoid as fuck right now, and they have every right to be because Project Veritas has done the one thing, and this is where I kind of mentioned this on the group chat the group page, is that I feel like they have now become the WikiLeaks of journalism, meaning that there are getting people to actually dig deep and find out the corruption within these news organizations, and they're becoming whistleblowers.
Right.
This is what Trump has been outlining since day one he took office, when he's talked about the mainstream media being fake news. Everybody's got a personal agenda. We saw it with CNN when they were exposed by Project Veritas. It was like the CEO of CNN has got a personal vendetta out against Trump.
Right.
ABC has now buried a story about Epstein.
Yeah, and when you look at that story, and when you look at the fact that they covered it up, you got to ask yourself this. If she's sitting there, like, she knows, she's one of the main anchors there, knows, they've decided not to cover the story because, they'd rather get clicks about the princess or about.
I don't think it's even about the clicks. I think that it's about protecting the Clintons.
It's definitely part of it, though. Is they have to stay alive somehow. They have to continue to make money and be viable business. But I guess what I'm asking is, how many other stories have they failed to report on or chosen to bury because it would go against their profit model,
right?
The way they make their money. It goes against it.
So what I'm thinking is, and what's going on with Project Veritas is they probably have every news outlet already been exposed. They're just not releasing the videos just
waited
yet.
Until they got everybody.
I think they got everybody, and I think they even got Fox as well. I hate to say that. I mean, I enjoy watching Fox, but I think that they're going to wind up exposing everybody in the media. Now, maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to say, but this is only part one of ABC.
Yeah. So how many parts does CNN have? Like 5?
I think so.
5 parts.
And it's telling because I really hope that people see this and they start thinking for themselves and get away from watching the mainstream media.
Yeah, you got now we're pipe dreaming over here. But check this out. So ABC News and Amy Roback responded to Project Veritas. Right. This was their response. Let's see. ABC News statement says, at the time, not all of our reporting met our standards to air, but we have never stopped investigating the story ever since. We've had a team on this investigation and substantial resources dedicated to it. That work has led to a 2-hour documentary and a 6-part podcast that will air in the new year. Now, that's interesting because...
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
This is covering their ass. And
Absolutely.
Anybody with the right mind would look at this and say, ABC, you're full of shit. They had the story. They chose not to do it because it was an election year. We all know this.
Oh yeah, but that's not and that's not even it. They're blowing smoke up our ass because it says not all of our reporting met our standards to air, but yet when they had the story come out about Nathan Phillips and that Covington kid.
Oh, it was all over the news.
Oh yeah, all over
news.
the place. When they started talking about Kavanaugh and Blasey Ford.
Did you read about that?
They're talking about shit that allegedly happened 30 years ago. There's no way they could verify that shit.
ABC was specifically told to run the Kavanaugh story, whether it was believed or not.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and you'll have to find it. But they were specifically told to run this story, whether it was believed or not,
Holy shit.
because it was going to get views. But again, this highlights going against Trump. It goes against his pick. I mean...
So here's Amy Roback's statement here. She says, as a journalist, as the Epstein story continued to unfold last summer, I was caught in a private moment of frustration. I was upset that an important interview I had conducted with Virginia Roberts didn't air because we could not obtain sufficient corroborating evidence to meet ABC's editorial standards about her allegations. My comments about Prince Andrew and her allegation that she had seen Bill Clinton on Epstein's private island were in reference to what Virginia Roberts said in that interview in 2015. I was referencing her allegations, not what ABC News had verified through our reporting. Look, lady, you didn't have to verify it through the reporting. You can go back and look at the emails via WikiLeaks. We just read them ourselves, and we're just a couple of jagoffs in a small, tiny room in the back of my house. Anyway, the interview itself, she continues, while I was disappointed it didn't meet our standards. In the years since, no one ever told me or the team to stop reporting on Jeffrey Epstein, and we have continued to aggressively pursue this important story.
That's bullshit.
Again,
Bullshit.
Complete and utter bullshit.
I mean, honestly, when is people in the news and in the media going to start to understand that the public does not buy your bullshit? I mean, this is what entertains
they're
me.
dying anyway as it is. And right now, they're really desperately trying to grasp straws right now.
Because, I just don't understand it because it's one of those situations where when you look back and they still want to push this narrative that they're really going to be fair and balanced and all this other crap. No, you're not. You're blowing smoke up our asses. We as people we're seeing through you now. And because of stories and because of people like Project Veritas is giving us the ability to look at you and shake our head and say, no, go the fuck on somewhere. Yeah. We're not buying it.
Yeah, you've got independent media out there that's actually doing a much better job. They're doing their homework like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
You have independent journalists. You have investigative journalists like Project Veritas and James O'Keefe and all them. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of alternatives that we can look at that seem to have a much better track record of giving true accounts of what's going on, smoking gun, video proof, audio evidence, stuff that these news organizations are not denying it. So it's not like they're saying, hey, it was doctored footage, it was taken out of context. No, they're not saying any of that.
So what I found interesting is when I started to watch this video, they're talking about the Project Veritas, leak video. Mm-hmm. I noticed if you go down and you watch that video on YouTube and you start reading the comment section, a lot of people were wanting to know why this wasn't trending on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
The video in one day had 1.8 million views.
Yeah.
That is worthy of being, it's worthy of trending on YouTube or any kind of social platform.
It's being suppressed,
when you go, So when you go in there into YouTube and actually clicked on what, and I want people to do this, go on there, click on trending, which should be at the bottom of your, little icons on the app.
Mm-hmm.
You click on trending. There's videos that have like 500,000 views and are trending, but then you can't even find this Project Veritas video anywhere. Like you have to search it. Then even then, you may not even get it pulled up because there's been reports of people saying they can't even find it unless you've got the actual link. So. Yeah, here you go, right here. It's just
trending. I just brought up the trending tab. Of course, this might be tailored to my particular, but I don't know. We got the PewDiePie, 5.6 million views.
Then I go up at the very first one that's trending.
Very first one, 583K views.
Yeah.
Posted 11 hours ago. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Like this is all pretty tame shit.
It's not even trending.
Yeah, 485K views, 612K, 593K.
Nothing.
Oh, we got the Daily Show with 694K.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul.
I mean, you have a
Logan.
few that have got 1 million, views here and there, but for a story like this and for it to have as many views as it does, it's not even trending. So it begs the question as to why.
Yeah, a hoarder's home was cleaned up after 40 years. Who gives a shit? All right.
So you see what I'm saying? It's...
So according to the New York Post, Jeffrey Epstein's brother says he might have been murdered, is what it says here. Let me grab where are my looking specs here. All right, because it's got small print. Jeffrey Epstein's brother lashed out Wednesday. This was posted November 6th, today, just a few hours ago. Lashed out Wednesday over, quote-unquote, unexplained details in the pedophile's jail cell hanging, insisting, quote, my brother might have been murdered.